Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's going on, Fantasy Champs? My name is Morgan
What's
Colby.
up?
My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always. Poppin' Rick.
What's up?
We got an interesting show today. It's a new show in our show of shows, or our show list through the entire offseason, and it is our top 50 rankings. Now, some of you may be like, oh, God. They talked about 12 players for an hour last time. I don't know if I want to stick around for that. Well, this is going to be a lot faster. So, Rick, by the way, I didn't say before we started recording the show, I sent you a file in the Zoom chat.
Okay.
Yeah, so open that.
I will.
But anyway, so yeah, we're going to talk about our top 50 players overall, both of ours. So you'll hear Rick's top 50, you'll hear my top 50, and then we'll break down, some differences, some variations, stuff like that. We won't go into each player position by position and break down why we ranked one guy over the other. We're just going to quickly run through our top 50 and send you on your merry way, so you'll see who we like, who we don't like, some of that stuff. Before we do that, check our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and any other podcasting platforms, please leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like, and comment down below any questions you may have for us on this program. And leave your let's see, your 10th overall player in your rankings, if you have them.
Correct.
Were you able to?
Yeah, my top 50, I got Justin Fields at 1.
Oh.
I got Mac Jones at 2.
Is this a Superflex Dynasty league?
Yeah.
All right, so
I did open your
did it open?
Your file. It's a little wonky looking, but that's okay.
You can figure it out?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay. So these are based on half PPR scoring. So if you're wondering why certain things are the way that they are, then you can be confused. But and they're also adjusted via Fantasy Pros, so there might be some guys at the running back
Yeah,
position.
I think there's going to be running backs that are a lot higher.
Yeah.
Than I think what it's going to actually look like.
Yeah. So, but either way, so like I said, basically how we're going to do this is I'll list off my 10, and then I'll list off Rick's 10, and then Rick is currently looking at my glorious rankings, and we can discuss variations that we like or dislike about that, and then we'll move on to the next 10. So here is the top 10 for me. I got Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Travis Kelce, and Justin Jefferson. And then Rick's got Christian McCaffrey 1, Austin Eckler, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Justin Jefferson, Josh Jacobs, Travis Kelce, and then Jamar Chase at 10. I think both of Rick and I would never have Travis Kelce in our overall top 10, but I guess it makes sense. Because Travis Kelce is Travis Kelce. But anyway.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, this is how the draft would look like 4 years ago. If they were playing, if we played how we did
last year,
or like 3, yeah, honestly, maybe even last year.
Yeah,
to be honest, you only see 2 receivers here in the top 10. It's mostly running backs with Kelce in there.
Yep.
I think I would agree with you. If we're gonna do it like this, I still would have Chase, who I have at 10.
Mm-hmm.
I would have ahead of Kelce, but it's not bad, especially if you're gonna go with the heavy running back approach. I think the top 10s are fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm trying to think for you. I mean, we just talked about running backs on the last show, so I don't want to talk about any of them. I'm like,
yeah,
guys, these friggin' running backs. But can you quickly tell me why Justin Jefferson is ahead of Jamar Chase in your rankings? just so people can hear
Yeah,
it from the ranking show that I didn't record with you.
sure. I think Jefferson to me, yeah, just the year he had last year was like his borderline historic season, kind of like what Cooper Kupp did the year before.
Mhm.
Maybe just every wide receiver one from now on is going to have historic seasons, but he was just felt like so much ahead of the pack.
Yeah.
And there's even more vacated targets there, and that team is just throwing the ball a million times. So I think Jefferson is going to live at like the 185 target range, which is just ridiculous.
Do you know what Jamar Chase was on pace for before he got hurt last year?
What was that?
190 targets.
Oh, so there you go.
That was my main argument. I love my main argument.
Can I tell you that Jefferson in 17 games had an historic season, and he only had 8 touchdowns.
Unbelievable.
So if we see that touchdown number go up,
I don't think Jamar Chase had that many touchdowns either.
he had 9 in 13 games.
Okay. Most of these are running backs, like I said, that we just talked about on our last show. If you want to hear about the freaking running back position, feel free. Go back and listen to that. All right, so I'm gonna list off my I'll start with Rick's because I'm looking at it. Rick's 11 to 20. So at 11 he had Cooper Kupp, and then he had Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Ramondre Stevenson, Tyreek Hill, Stefon Diggs, Breece Hall, Najee Harris, CeeDee Lamb, Mark Andrews. I currently have from 11 to 20. Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Breece Hall, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Stefon Diggs, and then Mark Andrews. So Rick, why don't you call me out for something here?
Well, first of all, for both of us, I don't think either one of us would want to have Mark Andrews this high again. It's just the tight end thing.
Yeah, just remove Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel great about ETN there, but that's just me. But it's not like it's crazy. None of these are crazy, honestly. Doesn't it feel weird? And if maybe like Breece Hall being as high as he is kind of would make me really nervous as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting though to see like Tyreek Hill being there in like the middle of the second round. Like, okay,
yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, that to me in the PPR draft that's never happening.
Yeah. And CeeDee Lamb too, honestly. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe like in our home league, if they still draft this way, we're gonna be just loaded at wide receiver this year.
Oh, that could be the case. Yeah, no.
What about mine? Give me something that stands out to mind.
I got you. I was just gonna say, I don't know why I still have an infatuation with Travis Etienne. I'll let y'all know in the future because I see his name and
you figure it out.
I instantly.
No, I don't have Etienne
higher.
I honestly only have Etienne like 3 spots lower than you, so it's not like crazy.
Yeah. All right. So
or 2 spots lower
on yours. The top 3 wide receivers, I'm okay with. I like those. Like I said, we already kind of talked about a little bit about the running backs. Do we both have Tyreek Hill over Stefon Diggs?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I have CeeDee Lamb wide receiver 5. I thought you would be lower on CeeDee, but you only have one spot.
Yeah, only 1 spot lower.
So I guess I don't really have anything. Do you have any concerns about Stefon Diggs? Because I actually looking at mine, I think where did I have Stefon Diggs?
Well, I know we won't get into it because we talked about last show, but I do have Ramondre.
Oh, I have Stefon Diggs 19. You have Stefon Diggs
16.
16. So I think I have wide receiver 7 or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. No, I'm not too worried about it. He ended up like the whole out thing lasted a singular day, and then he came back. There's still a lot of targets to be had in that offense as of now, right? They haven't really added anything. It's just him and Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox and maybe Dalton Kincaid, but like he's still a guy who's feels like he's gonna get like 160 targets just about. So I'm still good on Diggs.
Okay. Any other thoughts on 11 to 20?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. The next phase here, we have A.J. Brown for Rick's. We have A.J. Brown at 21. And this will be 21 to 30. So A.J. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devontae Adams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Travis Etienne, Jalen Waddle, Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker, and T. Higgins. And then for mine, I have from 21 to 30, A.J. Brown. So we got A.J. Brown, like, same spot.
Yeah, exact same.
Ramondre Stevenson at 22, Amon-Ra St. Brown at 23, Devontae Adams at 24, Garrett Wilson at 25, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Kenneth Walker, Miles Sanders, and Devonta Smith. So this is where things start shifting around.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm going to take a look at yours. You take a look at mine, and you can yell at me.
Okay.
Yours is pretty standard. Jalen Waddle, real high for me on yours. Wide receiver 11. Garrett Wilson, I like. Wide receiver 10. I'm in on Amon-Ra. I don't dislike any of those guys. The two things I will say from 10 to 30. Waddle is high for me, and Jahmyr Gibbs, you got real high. You got spicy hot high. I think the expert consensus is 18. You got him already.
It's spicy because it's spicy. It makes it more spicy because the overall is inflating his running backs. But yeah, no, I'm high on Gibbs, dude. I think especially in PPR, he's a guy who I think could out of the gate, especially with some suspensions and injuries to the wide receiver position for the
right.
I'm big on Gibbs for his receiving work. Yeah, you said Waddle is interesting. You had the same take last year, where you weren't high on Waddle and Hill, and then
it's the same. It's on the wide receiver show. I explained it. It's the same situation,
right?
So Waddle, did all three of the Bengals, Dolphins, and who's the other team? Eagles. All three teams have their number 2 wide receiver in the top 12.
T. Higgins was injured last year, so he was like wide receiver 18.
So to me, I basically squared it out as Higgins is on a team that throws it 615 times a year.
Yeah.
And he is going to obviously get a ton of work, but the Bengals offense is always going to be better than the Dolphins offense to me. Same thing for the Eagles, and Devonta Smith is just last year on his reception perception chart. Last year, he was just an elite route runner, and he still had 145 targets. So I liked him over Jalen Waddle for that instance. Jalen Waddle has kind of been capped too with, I believe it was air yardage. That actually might have been air. Amon-Ra, actually. I'm mixing those two together. But I kind of put him as the third guy in a grouping of Devonta Smith and T. Higgins, if you put all those three guys together. They're all ranked side by side. But the reason why he is lower for me than he is for you is specifically for that reason.
So where do you have him real quick among receivers?
Jalen Waddle?
Yeah.
Actually, hold on a second. Do I have him higher?
I was going to say, I don't think you have him.
I got a wide receiver. I mean, I have him 31 overall right now.
Yeah, so it's like wide receiver, was it 12, 13?
Yeah.
So you're not really that far off from what I have him. I do have him a little higher. I don't know, dude. I think he's just a freaking stud. Like, I think Devontae Smith is probably a better real life receiver, although it's super close.
Yeah.
Like, you could make the argument for either one.
Yeah,
but
Waddle 13.
I think Waddle is just like, it's so funny that the Dolphins have both these guys, but I feel like he's the modern Tyreek Hill. He's going to be what Tyreek Hill was in the beginning of Tyreek Hill's career.
Whoa.
Plays a little differently,
Whoa.
But like, yeah, I think he's a freaking superstar, dude. So I have an 11, and I actually
the problem is that the real thing is on the other side of the field.
Yes, I know. That's why he's 11 and not like 4 or 5. But yeah. So I mean, that's fair. So just looking at yours,
there's a lot of
Miles Sanders to me is definitely high. That is getting hot take.
I like Miles Sanders. Where do you have him?
I know you do.
Where do you have him?
Lower than that's for sure.
I have Miles Sanders on my running back.
He's overall number 37 for me.
What is his?
So that would put him at RB. I have him as RB 18.
I have him at RB 16.
Oh, so I guess that's not too bad.
Yeah,
See, some of these make it seem like it's
it's real bad, but it's
more
not.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like him. I like him slightly more. I ranked him slightly higher because I like him more than certain guys, and there's guys that are probably safer picks that are getting, according to the expert consensus, ranked ahead of him. But I moved him past that point and up a little bit more because I want to make sure I get him on my teams. So I believe in Miles Sanders in Carolina.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Fair enough.
Anything else on this list?
Honestly, no.
Okay. All right, let's talk about 31 to 40. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Jalen Waddle is 31 for me. TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf, Josh Allen. So now we're getting quarterbacks mixed in. Jahmyr Gibbs, Chris Olave, Amari Cooper, Jalen Hurts, DeAndre. Oh, sorry, I moved into that one. Jalen Hurts at 40. Rick's is currently Chris Olave, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Deebo Samuel, Devonta Smith, Josh Allen, Miles Sanders, Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf, and Patrick Mahomes, who you have QB2. Whoa. We got the same quarterback ranking.
We do not.
Yeah, we do. I mean, not overall. Not overall.
You have Jalen Hurts a little higher.
Oh, that's right. I put Patrick Mahomes 3.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. All right, never mind. I lied.
Honestly, that's totally fair. I think I actually was supposed to put Mahomes 3. I think I screwed that up. Let me look at my other rankings.
No, you're all good. You like Chris Olave.
I actually ignore the quarterbacks because I actually had Mahomes and Hurts switched.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I do like Chris Olave.
Chris Olave, you got 13, wide receiver 13. I believe I have him at wide receiver.
Yeah, see, we got a couple small a couple spots.
Yeah, I got Chris Olave, wide receiver 16. So there's a difference there.
So you have DK Metcalf ahead of Chris Olave.
I do.
Why is that?
I don't know. I honestly, I was like, I sat there, I thought about it for a very long time. Metcalf is really, really, really good when they actually are throwing him the ball.
Yes, I agree.
And I honestly, like, to me, it was dead even between those two. So, I mean, it could honestly change, but my only thing is the Saints have a lot of question marks surrounding them. Derek Carr being one of them, but also the fact that, like, Michael Thomas, is he going to play? Is Alvin Kamara going to play?
Right, for sure. But that could mean
happen.
That could be good if they don't for Olave.
Yeah, I think it was more.
He just gets force fed the ball.
I guess my thought process with the receivers would make more sense that Olave was higher, but Metcalf is just a floor play for me. So
that's fair, and he's ridiculous when they actually give him the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where's your 40th guy? So I know where it cuts off because I don't have numbers for this list.
My 40th guy is
your 40th guy.
Jalen Hurts.
So it cuts off at Hurts. Okay.
Yep.
So you have Gibbs here. I'm interested to hear why you have Gibbs below some of the other guys, like at RB18.
So the only reason I think I have to, it's a tough one. It's specifically in full PPR. He should be really good, but we just know what Detroit likes to do with the running back position at this point, and they brought in David Montgomery, and they have Jahmyr Gibbs now, and it's clear to me that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get a lot of pass catching work, and we know that. And in PPR leagues, half PPR leagues, that's going to be really good. But I think this could be one of those guys that I think he's a first round pick, and most of the time first round pick running backs end up in the top 12 of fantasy football. So, but I justifiably can't rank him that high because there are guys that I like ahead of him. Specifically contemplating now why I have Jahmyr Gibbs ahead of Aaron Jones ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs, because I would take Jahmyr Gibbs over Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
See, now I don't know. See, this is the thing is I go back. The ones that are close, I go back and forth on a lot. So
yeah,
but I know for a fact that like Kenneth Walker, Miles Sanders, Joe Mixon, and those guys, I would take over Jahmyr Gibbs at this point.
Okay, interesting.
That's why I ranked him down a little bit, and it's because they're gonna split, and I don't think Gibbs is gonna get nearly as much opportunity as some of these guys, which is probably why Aaron Jones is a little bit ahead of him right now. Like, Dylan's kind of faded into the background there, and if the Packers end up being good, there's no reason why Aaron Jones can't be the RB 8, 9, 10 that he was in the past if Jordan Love ends up having success. So, like, Jones is not dead. Like, he still can produce. I think the upside of Jahmyr Gibbs is really high, but I also think that there's a big floor for him where he could end up like all of the DeAndre Swift years. You know, where they're like, oh, we love this guy, and we pass it to him, and then he vanishes for 3 weeks and comes back, and all of a sudden he's really good again. It just, Dan Campbell, that situation, David Montgomery, like all of that stuff scares me. They're going to be weird about it, and that's why I have him lower. But I still love him. I still would draft him.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I think that's probably that for that round.
Okay.
Is there somebody on my list?
Oh, let me see. I already yelled at you about yours, but I'll keep going. I agree on Calvin Ridley. I agree on.
I was gonna take a note because we have Ridley at different spots too. You have Ridley much lower. I was gonna wait on Ridley to talk.
Okay,
about him,
yeah, we can wait on Ridley.
Sure.
Do I really have him much lower? I like Ridley too. I thought I ranked him high. Yeah, Devonta Smith is the only one, but we kind of already talked about that already.
Yeah. Okay, then we can move
on. And then like, where do I have Deebo Samuel?
You have him pretty high.
Yeah, I ranked him slightly higher than some other people, but anyway. All right, I'll give the last 10 guys here, to get you to the 50 range. J.K. Dobbins is 41, Dameon Pierce, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Jalen Hurts, DeAndre Swift, Dalvin Cook, Chris Godwin, Christian Watson, Justin Fields. So that is your top 50 for Rick, officially. And my top 50 is DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, Patrick Mahomes, Cam Akers, Dameon Pierce, Christian Watson, Keenan Allen, and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
All right.
There's one guy that we have way off from each other. That's Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin. Yeah. So consensus is actually extremely low on Chris Godwin right now.
Yep.
And I was kind of like, do I follow that or do I go back? And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, because I have him at wide receiver 27 right now, so it's not like massively off from the consensus, but I mean from yours, because you have him, I think, wide receiver 20.
I think so. Yeah.
Chris Godwin is an anomaly, and so is Mike Evans, and I put them kind of in the same vicinity. Mike Evans for me is wide receiver 31. And the reason why I have these guys ranked lower is like Tom Brady's not their quarterback anymore. And in case you've seen any camp videos, the quarterbacks that are throwing the ball to them right now.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask.
Not great. I think that offense is going to be very bad. I think that they're going to be bouncing between quarterbacks all year. And I think that only one of these guys really can have success. I don't think it's going to be Mike Evans. I do think it's Chris Godwin. I think that's why he's ranked higher. But this is one of those situations where he is a good wide receiver, force-fed down a bad offense. And I just am too scared to draft Chris Godwin. I do think, like I said, he's going to be the better wide receiver. I'm too afraid to draft Chris Godwin. He is ADPing at like 57 to 60 right now. So like it's not bad. Like it's not a bad selection if you want to take him. but just knowing the situation that the Bucs are going to be in this year, it's not going to be a positive look for either one of these wide receivers, and I don't want to be the one to highly invest in one and then find out that, oh, Tom Brady was the reason why these guys were having success. You know what I mean? Because Chris Godwin was still really great quarterback, but they're not going back to Jameis Winston, who was decent when he was with the Bucs. They're going to Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask, who both really aren't good.
Right.
So, I mean, unless Baker Mayfield has a resurgence and ends up Browns Baker Mayfield, even that wasn't really good for a guy like Odell, you know. No. So Godwin's still going to have success, but like I'm lower on him because of the situation the Bucs have.
Yeah, and I'll have to go back and, you know, I'll do my projections, which will definitely affect some of these rankings, but I don't know. I'm just looking at like last year. I know Brady was there, and I understand that is a huge, huge issue. Mm-hmm. But the dude had 104 catches in like 13 games. Like, it's ridiculous. 13 games started. He played 15, but 142 targets in 15 games. Like, if he played a full 17, he was going to be in like the top 4 or 5 in the league in targets for receivers. So, I think even with a crappy quarterback play, like he'll still have high volume for PPR, where it'll be worth it to take him in, like, you know, wherever he ends up going. Like, I think he'll still end up putting up decent fantasy numbers based on the volume. But so yeah, I guess another guy would be Calvin Ridley, who you have a little lower than I do. I think I have him higher than the consensus, definitely. But interesting to see what your thoughts, I guess.
I thought I had him pretty high.
To put in perspective, I have him ahead of Metcalf.
Yeah.
So I have him kind of high.
I guess I have him slightly lower, and there's some guys I like over him only because like
Amari Cooper.
Yeah,
there's one guy that you have.
Cooper actually played snaps last year in the NFL.
Yeah, that's true.
Calvin Ridley could come in and be an absolute show, and I think that's what he's gonna be. And I'm drafting him in every spot I can get him. But the reason why I have him ranked slightly lower is because I do think that there is an opportunity for Calvin Ridley here, or there is situations with Calvin Ridley, negatives with Calvin Ridley, where he hasn't played a snap in the NFL for an entire season. This is his first year with, you know, what the heck? Why did I blank on his name? Say it again. Not Jacksonville, with Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I was thinking Travis, and I'm like, why am I thinking Travis? With Trevor Lawrence. So, and I think it's going to be really good. I think their connection is going to be great. There's going to be no problems there. But there's also other things going on with that offense, and you know, I don't know. Just to jump out the box and say that he's going to be a top 14, 13 wide receiver to me is too much.
That's fair.
I don't even like Amari Cooper all that much. Like I probably will move up Calvin Ridley over Amari Cooper after the show. But yeah, it's not any different. Like I'll take Chris Olave, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, Jalen Waddle, all those guys over him. So you know, even like I've noticed that the expert consensus, Devonta Smith, is ranked in that 18 spot. So I have him much higher than consensus. But Calvin Ridley, I think, is low.
Devontae Smith is wide receiver 18. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Let me. Yeah,
that's a steal, dude.
Calvin Ridley's wide receiver 20 on the ECR, so that's why I felt like I was high on him.
Yeah, no, I'm crazy high. I mean, I have 16, so I guess it's not crazy, but. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Interesting. No, I think that's about it.
Okay.
Unless you have something to say on mine.
You like Dobbins?
Yeah.
He's like, maybe.
I might move him. Some of the RBs.
I have J.K. Dobbins in the exact same spot as you, Dove, running back 20.
Do you?
Yeah, running back 20. Yeah, so it's not any different. Actually, you have him one spot higher. Dameon Pierce, RB20, I like that. DJ Moore, you have at wide receiver 19. Where do I have him?
That might be high.
I have wide receiver 19. All right, so we're not too far. Yeah. Christian Watson, I moved up too, and I thought I was too high on him, but you have him in that spot as well. And And our quarterback rankings are just about the same. So
That's funny. We have pretty similar rankings overall, I feel like.
Oh yeah. No, it's not
Couple
too
guys
far
here
off.
and
There's
there,
guys
but,
that are there's guys that we like and we don't like. So but there you go. There's our top 50. Any more thoughts, concerns, or questions about the top 50?
I think that's it, yeah.
I don't like using overall rankings, by the way, for any draft related
No.
things. Because I go
don't either.
position by position. You know, you drop your tiers in there, and then I said this on the last show the show I recorded by myself, that when you're drafting, you use tier based system, so you can try to tier out all of your rankings, and then there might be, you might be on a run of wide receivers, for example, and you're in tier 4 of wide receivers, but there's still a tier 2 running back on the board, and you can
Right.
go jump and say, I'm going to take that tier 2 running back and break the trend. I like to draft that way as opposed to looking at an overall list, because I think the overall list doesn't make any sense, but these are our top 50 players overall, individually, I guess.
Correct.
So anyway, there you go. Top 50 rankings. Rankings are done. Over. Next week we got a mock draft. Okay? Mock
They
draft.
done.
We promise you there's a mock draft next week, and a lot of other good content coming up. Be sure to check that out. You're welcome for getting it done relatively quickly today. Have a good weekend, guys. Bye.
See you.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.